One thing we should talk about ego, if we're going to use it in the more general sense of the word, and not the Freudian sense. Let's forget the Freudian sense. But one thing you have to understand about ego is that we attach our egos to other things and people. We have our heroes. For instance, if someone does something that you can't do, but it's important to you, and they do it real well, then as far as that particular situation goes, you attach your ego to that person.
And that's what we have in rampant abundance during election season. Forget about the Trump supporters. They're all maniacs. But what has truly surprised me during the primaries, and I know you've had trouble with this too, are the Bernie bots. They get so offended if you aren't totally for Bernie Sanders. And they take it personally. I mean, they get insulted if you like Hillary Clinton.
And that's what happens with people who are really fanatical about particular politicians. The people who follow Donald Trump have all these incredible psychological problems with themselves, these existential problems of who they are and their self-esteem and how they feel as victims of this, So the thing is, the people who follow him and all of that confidence that he has and all that sense of braggadocio that he has, they want to be like that. That's what they feel they lack. And if they only were like that, they would be successful people. So they attach their ego to Donald Trump. He is now their alter ego. He is the person that they are.
I worked for a time last summer at Wrigley Field, managing one of the concession stands. And the thing that struck me most was the absolute fanaticism of the fans. And I know that this is nothing new, that sports fans everywhere are known for their loud and sometimes violent fanaticism. But what I'm talking about is, there was this guy I would see on the train during baseball season. Oh, and don't get me started on the train. Jesus, every fucking year, from April to October, the trains packed with fat white people from the suburbs traveling to and from the Addison stop. Ugh, it's excruciating trying to get to work or trying to get home from work. But anyway, I mean, God forbid these people should show some enthusiasm for the symphony or for a play. But, all right, I digress. Okay, so there's this guy I see on the train every once in a while, a full-grown man my age, dressed in full Cubs regalia, from head to toe with a ball and a mitt, with the name of one of the players on the back of his jersey, like a little boy wearing a Halloween costume, like he's going to tie up the real guy and slip out onto the field as an imposter.
But everyone attaches their ego to someone, either for a specific thing or for life in general. And that can be rather dangerous. Because basically what you're doing is you're looking at your own incapacities, you're accepting those incapacities, and you see someone who has those capacities, and you do it kind of unconsciously, you start to identify with that person, and that person suddenly becomes you when it comes to at least that particular field of endeavor, whatever, you see. That person becomes you, and you sort of take them over, and that vicariously makes you powerful like them. You begin to feel their power as your power. That's the thing I'm trying to get across here.
Shit, man. Half of America, it seems, doesn't really live their own lives. They live vicariously. What they really want to be doing is investigating and exploring and solving mysteries and killing bad guys. So they do all that through video games and movies and TV. Or they want romance or sex with hot people. So they do that through pornography. Or they want to be close to God, and instead of spending the time in prayer or service work needed to achieve that, they listen to some guru tell them what their lives are supposed to mean.
When I was playing music, there were all these great guitarists out there. Now, I hated anyone who was better than me. But the great guitarists, you had to really realize that they were really in a different category than I was in. I had to realize that. So the idea was, which one do I want to emulate, right? And the one whose playing I liked the most was John Williams.
Oh, and for our listeners, this is John Williams, the classical guitarist, not John Williams, the film composer.
So John Williams became sort of my alter ego. To me, he was the ideal, and he could do no wrong. The other guys, I could dismiss them. They were far beyond me, but it didn't matter. I could dismiss them because I had attached my ego to John Williams. He was an extension of me. He was my legitimacy. And it was only for that particular thing, though. It wasn't for everything in the world, you know?
I was that way with Leonard Bernstein when I was a kid, and I was sort of that way with Sam Shepard, the actor and playwright, when I was in my 20s.
There's no politician I've ever done that with. There are certain psychologists that I immediately jump to when I discuss things with people, and I use that sort of as my authority for what I'm saying, as if I'm talking as that person who has so much more prestige and all of that sort of thing, you know. At least it feels that way to me. It may not feel that way to people who are listening to it. In fact, it doesn't.